Welcome back, everyone. Today's video is one of the most important, eye-opening deep dives we've ever done. We're breaking down the real reasons why poor people remain poor beyond the stereotypes, assumptions, and oversimplified opinions you see online. This video explores 13 powerful, interconnected causes of poverty, some structural, some systemic, and some behavioral. These factors affect billions of people, and understanding them is the key to building a roadmap for change. If you're passionate about financial education, breaking generational cycles, understanding global economics, or simply building a better future, this video is for you. Before we start, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Let's begin. When you study poverty globally, you'll hear a concept called the culture of poverty. It suggests that behaviors, beliefs, and daily choices can keep people stuck. But here's the truth. People do make choices, but those choices are shaped by circumstances, inequality, limited access, and the environment they grow up in. It's not that poor people choose poverty. It's that poverty dramatically limits the options available to them. With that understanding, let's break down the 13 core reasons why the poor stay poor. First up, government policies. This is one of the biggest contributors to poverty and sometimes the biggest obstacle to escaping it. Policies determine who gets access to opportunities, who receives safety nets, and how taxes affect households. Some countries have strong support systems, affordable healthcare, food subsidies, housing assistance. Others provide almost nothing. Without a safety net, a single crisis, an illness, a job loss, a drought pushes families deeper into poverty. In many nations, the debate over which programs to fund is endless. But often, the real issue is that the systems are outdated, inefficient, or unintentionally trap people. A poorly designed welfare system can discourage saving. A rigid tax structure can punish small businesses. When governments fail to provide basic infrastructure and security, opportunity is destroyed. Next, lack of quality education. Education is one of the strongest predictors of financial success. Yet millions of children worldwide grow up with underfunded schools, poorly trained teachers, and overcrowded classrooms. Many poor families can't even afford to send their kids to school. In some regions, children must work to support the family. In others, girls are discouraged or even prevented from getting an education at all. UNESCO estimates that 171 million people could escape poverty simply by learning basic reading skills. Education is the ladder out of poverty, but in too many places, that ladder is broken. Reason 3 is soaring housing costs and urban migration. As cities grow, people move from rural areas hoping for better opportunities. But when housing is expensive, the poor are pushed into slums, crowded, unsafe neighborhoods with no proper sanitation, unreliable electricity, and limited jobs. Land zoning laws in many cities dramatically increase housing prices. Some cities, like New York and San Francisco, have zoning costs that raise housing expenses by 50% or more. When poor families spend most of their income just to keep a roof over their heads, there's almost nothing left for education, savings, or emergencies. This leads to our fourth point, lack of savings and a financial cushion. People in poverty rarely have emergency funds, not because they're irresponsible, but because their income barely covers survival. Savings become impossible when income is inconsistent, wages are too low, and inflation is high. Banking systems often have barriers and fees that eat into small deposits, and some government programs even penalize savings. Without a financial cushion, any unexpected event, a medical bill, a broken-down car, a lost job, becomes a financial disaster. Many daily wage workers live day-to-day with no long-term security and no ability to plan for the future. Reason 5 is slow economic growth and barriers to entrepreneurship. A country's economic growth determines whether opportunities increase or decrease. Many countries have anti-growth policies. These barriers include high taxes, complex licensing requirements, and bureaucratic red tape. These rules disproportionately hurt the poor, especially those who want to start small businesses. In the US, even professions like makeup artists or florists can require expensive licenses, blocking people from entering these industries. When people can't start small businesses, they remain dependent on low-paying jobs. Number 6, the criminal justice system and incarceration. Poverty and the criminal justice system are deeply connected. Families with an incarcerated parent are far more likely to fall into poverty. A criminal record creates massive barriers to employment, housing, and education. 5 million children in the US have had a parent in prison, creating generational consequences on income and opportunity. In many developing countries, slum areas are often associated with crime, which causes governments to ignore investment in infrastructure and security. The result is that people in already struggling communities fall even deeper into poverty. Next is climate change and natural disasters. The World Bank predicts climate change could push 100 million more people into poverty within a decade. Poor families rely heavily on agriculture, fishing, and seasonal work. Floods, droughts, and storms destroy crops, homes, livestock, and income. Without insurance or savings, one climate event can wipe out everything. Recovery can take years, if it happens at all. This brings us to number 8. Lack of infrastructure. Infrastructure is the backbone of economic opportunity. Without roads, electricity, internet, and clean water, people become isolated and unable to access jobs, education, or healthcare. Many rural communities are physically cut off from opportunity. Travel is expensive, dangerous, or simply impossible. Living off the grid isn't a lifestyle choice when you never had a choice to begin with. Reason 9 is inequality, discrimination, and marginalization. Poverty is often the result of systemic inequality, including gender inequality, racial discrimination, and caste systems. These factors create unequal access to resources, education, capital, and justice. When entire groups of people are pushed to the margins of society, poverty becomes generational. Reason 10, conflict, war, and violence. Conflict is one of the fastest ways to push millions into poverty. War destroys homes, infrastructure, businesses, and entire healthcare and education systems. Look at Syria. Once a relatively stable country, now 70% of its population lives in poverty due to ongoing conflict. During war, families flee their homes, lose their assets, and become refugees, often forced to start from zero. Violence also prevents people from working. Conflict doesn't just create poverty, it freezes progress for decades. Number 11 is a lack of livelihood and job opportunities. Not having a job isn't always about a lack of effort. Sometimes, there simply are no jobs. In many developing countries, the land is overworked, resources are exploited, and industries are outdated. Without stable employment, families are forced to rely on temporary work and low wages, keeping them trapped in a cycle of poverty. Next, a lack of clean water and hunger. According to the World Health Organization, 2 billion people lack access to clean water, and 800 million live with chronic hunger. Hunger drains energy, weakens the immune system, and prevents people from working productively. Easily preventable diseases from dirty water cause medical costs that poor families cannot afford. In many places, women and girls spend hours each day walking for water, losing time that could be spent in school or earning an income. Hunger and lack of water don't just result from poverty, they actively cause it. And our final reason, number 13, no financial reserves for life emergencies. When droughts, illnesses, or conflicts occur, families with no reserves are forced to sell their land, sell their tools, pull their children out of school, or eat less. These strategies help them survive in the short term, but they push them deeper into long-term poverty. In Ethiopia, recurring droughts cause repeated crop failures, forcing families to liquidate everything they own, ultimately leaving them in a state of permanent poverty. Without a cushion, every crisis becomes a catastrophe. So, as you can see, poverty is not caused by just one thing. It's the result of many interconnected forces working together. But poverty is not permanent. It can be reduced dramatically when societies focus on empowering communities, strengthening education, improving infrastructure, and creating fair markets. Empowering people with the tools, opportunities, and knowledge they need gives them a real chance to lift themselves out of poverty. Thank you for watching. If you found this video valuable, hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. What do you think is the biggest cause of poverty, and what solutions do you believe are most important? Your perspective might help someone else. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and stay financially sharp.